Now, the Supreme Court has allowed courts to modify arbitral awards. However, the Apex Court has warned that this power should be exercised with caution. So far, courts only had the power to strike down the entire arbitral award or a portion of it. Ashmit joins us now to explain to us what the court's ruling means and why this is a significant departure as far as the Supreme Court's position on arbitral awards are concerned. Ashmit.
Well, a landmark judgment coming in from the highest court of the country by a bench of no less than 5 judges, blessing the Indian courts. This judgment blesses the Supreme Court and the high courts with the power to modify, to change the arbitral award. Now, this is a dramatic change from the existing regime. The existing regime, as of this morning, was that arbitral awards, once they're passed by the arbitral tribunals, the only thing that the Indian courts could do was, one, either to allow it, or number two, to strike it down. And even for striking it down, they were very limited in specific criteria, such as perhaps a violation of Indian law or a violation of the Indian public policy. That's the only way in which it could be struck down. Now, there is the power. The courts have armed themselves with the power to modify the arbitral award. There are specific criteria that have been listed out. One, in case the award is severable, which is that some parts are valid, the others are invalid. That's when the High Court, Supreme Court can step in. The other is if there are typographical errors, which is blatant on the face of it. That is another case of High Court, Supreme Court wanting to step in. The third is if there's a case of interest being awarded post the arbitral award. That is another aspect where the courts can intervene. The fourth, and this is interesting here, under Article 142, the Supreme Court can intervene to meet the ends of justice, which again is a very wide power. The only caveat that the Supreme Court has added that there needs to be some caution being exercised in exercise of these powers. What is interesting, however, is that this wasn't a unanimous judgment. There was one dissenting judgment by Justice K.V. Vishwanathan. He warned that any such introduction of powers of modification could lead to a whole host of uncertainties for players that are participating in that arbitration and will strike at the heart of the arbitration and conciliation mechanism.
Ashmit, many thanks. Now, sticking with action from the Supreme Court, the Apex